day, everybody. This is Jim McBride, Charleston City Councilman for District 3, which covers Johns Island and part of James Island. We all know that traffic is a problem. It's bad on Johns and James Island. It's bad all over Charleston, frankly, but it's getting worse on Johns and James Island with the rapid developments that have happened over the last several years. I knew very early on that I had to find a way to articulate clearly how bad the traffic is in District 3, both at any given moment of any day, and also showing trends over time. There's not a system in place at this point to show that. The city, the county, and South Carolina Department of Transportation have to allocate limited resources towards infrastructure and roads all over Charleston County and in the city of Charleston. And without accurate data, it's harder to figure out where to allocate those limited resources. So I've come up with a system to be able to do that, to provide accurate, tangible data that can be used by the city, county, and state using Google Maps data. That's what this video is about. I want to show you that we're working to find better ways to articulate how bad the problem is, where the problems are the worst in District 3, and this is a tool that can be used anywhere in Charleston. So I hope you enjoy the video, and we'll be using data like this to make things better faster in District 3 and Charleston. Thank you. And I'm here with Andrew Turek, and we're going to talk about, and he's going to show us how we can use Google traffic data to show real-time traffic information in District 3 in Johns and James Island. And this is an idea that we had early on, just after I got elected, to try to figure out how I can tangibly show the city and the county and the state exactly how bad our traffic is and where it's bad and where it's not so bad, and how road improvements impact the traffic, other than just anecdotal, just kind of educated guesses. This gives us the real deal. So I'm really excited that Andrew put the work in to figure out how to make this easy data easy to gather. I started out doing it manually, going on Google, going point A to point B and doing a spreadsheet manually, and it was just taking forever and it wasn't working. And Andrew, being a certified engineer here, living on Johns Island, figured out how to do it automatically. So today we're going to talk about various routes and various examples to show you. This is just an overview right now, this map right here.
Yeah, thanks, Jim. Just a few notes on what I'm doing here. So you've probably used Google Maps or some equivalent software, maybe Apple Maps, to plug in a route and get an estimated travel time. So what I've done is I've just found a way to kind of automate that process and store that result over time. So what I'm doing is the equivalent of pinging Google Maps every 10 to 15 minutes along the same route and basically just storing that data. And I've been doing that for the last 3 months or so for the Northern Pitchfork specifically. And for all the routes you see here. As we've gone along, I've started tracking different routes at different times, but this map is showing, currently which routes are being tracked. And so this data, we're going to go through it, but it's got a lot of useful features that identify trends and can inform decision makers.
Great. This is all the routes. So we started out with just that intersection of Maybank and River when we first came up with this idea. Since then, Andrew has expanded it to very many routes and intersections in District 3, which is extremely helpful, both to me personally, but also to the city's traffic and transportation team, and it'll, I think, be helpful for the county as well. So go ahead and take it away, Andrew.
Yeah, sure. There's 53 routes total now. A couple of these we just started tracking within the last week. But like River and Maybank, for example, it's being tracked for the last 3 months. So here's kind of an overview for those of you that maybe aren't familiar with the area. downtown Charleston. The peninsula is here where I'm circling with my mouse. James Island is directly to the southwest here, goes all the way down to Folly Beach, which is point S on this map. And then, of course, point B is the Stono Bridge onto Johns Island. And once you enter Johns Island, where I'm circling is the river and Maybank intersection. And then as you keep going through Johns Island on Maybank, you get to the Main to the north, Maybank east to west, and then Bohicket to the south. So that's this area here. I'm tracking routes all the way into Wadmalaw and all the way down to Freshfields Village and Kiowa. And then up in the top left here, I'll zoom in a little bit, is the 17 and Main intersection that I'm outlining here. And then still on Johns Island, about to cross the Limehouse Bridge is the River, Main, and Chisholm intersection here. And then I would loop back all the way down Savannah Highway into the kind of 1761 Folly Road merge area here, and then take it across the Ashley River Bridge here, going into the Septima Clark or the Crosstown, getting you onto the Ravenel Bridge. So hopefully that gives an overview of just where we are, what this map represents. I'm tracking not every point to every point, but the kind of logical paths through intersections are all being tracked on this map currently. So
That's awesome.
Yeah,
a lot of routes. That's great.
a lot of routes, a lot of data.
Yeah.
Currently tracking every 15 minutes in order to kind of make the most of the routes. So that's 4 data points per hour. Gives you a pretty good idea. After about a week or so, the patterns in traffic start to emerge. And so I have it all organized kind of in each individual route gets its own dashboard. And next I was going to kind of show custom reports that I've made for key intersections.
Great.
So rolling right into that, here's the River Maybank intersection that's been being tracked for the last 3 months. Wanted to point a couple of things out here. Hopefully you can see well enough. In the top right corner is a zoomed in view of that intersection. I also got Google Maps pulled up. So you got the Food Lion in the northeast corner. You got the Zeppelin Pizza in the southwest corner. So going back to that report, a lot of these points, A to B, C to B, D to B, they're just based on this upper right-hand corner. So just guiding you through it. This top left graph is coming up River Road and turning right on the Maybank. There's 2 things being tracked here in this dashboard is the darker blue line, again, over the course of a 24-hour day on average during the week, is the, monthly average travel time. So you can see about 7 a.m., the travel time average is 10.1 minutes. But what's interesting is this light blue line is the previous month's data. So it's June 26th right now. You can see there's a pretty drastic fall off in the month of June in travel times across the board, no matter which direction you're going towards the Stono River Bridge. And that can likely be attributed to school being out.
Yeah.
So yeah, this dashboard shows that pretty clearly.
That's awesome.
And just to run through a little more, right? D to B would be going eastbound through the intersection. A to B is coming south and turning left, getting off of Johns Island. And again, all the travel times this month are at peak periods are down by a significant amount. And then there's a custom report for travel in the opposite direction. So I just switched over to the westbound routes, and you can see not as dramatic of peaks either this month or last month, but you can still see in the evenings, especially, there's a drop off here. This is kind of interesting because, you'd think school traffic doesn't last until 5 p.m., right? So it's kind of curious how this kind of works. Potentially after school activities generate enough traffic in the evenings
Right.
Just more cars on the road. I don't really know for sure, but
Yeah.
you can see
Taking
there's
the
still a drop
parents
off
taking
there.
their kids to the baseball games, football games, that kind of stuff for practice, those kind of
Right,
things.
right. So another key intersection that everybody's interested in, and this map is a little small, so I'll pull it up on Google Maps here. You got 17 Main, right? So you got the Publix in the northwest corner, the Limehouse Bridge to the south, and then going east into West Ashley here, or west out into Hollywood, Round Falls area. So, anyways, with that in mind, the westbound directions through that intersection kind of established some landmarks. If you know where the U.S. Vegetable Lab is, that's kind of east along 17, just a bit, right here. So to get from that point to the Limehouse Bridge or Stono River County Park, um, that's this route. You can see travel times this month are down compared to last month slightly. This kind of travel arc is a little different than River and Maybank. It kind of elevates in the morning. Try to get my mouse off it so you can see it, but it elevates in the morning and then kind of stays elevated all day. And you can see that for any westbound direction, kind of going through that intersection.